Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Advertising, Fundamentals of Advertising. Today we're going to be talking on, you're either taking me in an online class or a face-to-face class or one of my workshops, and you utilize this as a supplement to the information either in a lecture or in a forum that we've already, we'll be discussing this subject matter. You already have the reading material, you have access to my concept maps, so let's go on. What are we going to cover today? I'm going to overview the chapters, a little assumption about free market economics, functions and effects of advertising, positive and negative, benefits of a strong brand awareness, evolution of advertising, global interactive age. Hey, with Facebook, the smartphones, technology has really changed. Advertising as a social force, both for nonprofit and for profit for businesses. That's what you're taking this series in. And the ethics and effects. The ethical, positive ethics. What's ethical and unethical behaviors that advertising could create if done improperly. Okay, so let's talk about. I'm going to flip this over real quickly. I may make this just a little bit larger. Let's see. I've got this at tip map. At what do I have this at hand? 1 second. And let's go 150. That isn't 150. I'll just make it just a touch bigger for you. Let's go 200. Okay, wait, bring it down. Okay, so now chapter overview. This chapter 2 is like a historical chapter, just to tell you so you understand where we were and where we are now. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the free market economics, functions and effects of advertising as an economic tool. Remember, advertising basically stimulates sales, and sales means people are spending disposable income, and as they spend disposable income, I get to sell more products, and I have to hire more people, and it keeps the economy going. Okay, and the impact of advertising has on economics. Okay, let's take some assumptions. Free market economics. What the heck is free market economics? Many of you already had some economic classes, micro, macro, in a different variety of venues. But the bottom thing is, if I look at economics, it's basically self-interest. It's just my own self-interest that I'm economically sound. It's the self-interest of the country that I'm living in. It's the self-interest of companies that are selling their product. So when you really look down to the human nature, it's what's in it for me. Whether I'm a company owner, I'm a business, or I'm a country, whatever. It's my self-interest. How free economics works is that you have to be able to have complete information to make logical and rational and critical decisions. You have to also have many buyers and sellers, because if I only have one buyer and one seller, I can charge what I want. If I don't have many sellers, then I don't have too much of a choice to pick up. And sellers aren't there if there's not enough buyers for the product. And then abstract of externalities. When you talk about externalities, when you're looking at it, you have government intervention, you have rules and regulations, but not to the extreme like you would if you were being a socialist country or if you would be in a communistic model. And as you've learned from economics, there's no pure communist. There's no pure. Well, there is only one pure communist regime left, and that's North Korea. But otherwise, there's no pure communism. There's no pure socialism, and there's no pure, for lack of better words, capitalism. They're a mixture of both, because we're living and working and operating in a global economy or a flat economic system, for lack of better word. If we, as the United States, quit buying products and services, it has ripple effects across all the different nations within a global system. Okay, so now let's go into functions and effects of advertising. Why do we advertise? Remember, this is only one aspect. If you had me for marketing, if you had me for consumer behavior, everything is part of the whole marketing thing. So if I look at marketing as the heart, the integrated marketing campaign is the heart of the marketing, of the heart of what I'm trying to communication, trying to convey. So I have to have a campaign, a slogan, or what am I trying to do? But The other part of that is part of the whole integrated marketing campaign is, you got personal selling and everything else. We'll talk a little bit later, but you also have advertising. And now we're going to talk about advertising. Advertising helps branding identify and differentiate different products, my product versus my competitor's product. Otherwise we don't know what's the difference. If I'm selling if I'm a consultant, what kind of consulting am I versus my competitor? I mean, on paper they look the same, but what makes me different than my competitors? Okay, and the same thing with different colleges. What makes one college is better than the other is the brandings. Some colleges have been branded as a party school. Other colleges have been branded as what do you call it? Very scientific. So it's a brand image. You yourself basically create a brand. When they talk about Dr. George Mochocki, who is he? I have a brand. I have certain functionality. You know me by certain ways. Is how I present myself, how I advertise myself, either through these videos or through a media or through some of my advertising flyers or campaigns. Whatever it is, I am branded. Through my resume is basically I'm creating a brand. How people view me or what they expect out of me when they hire me or when I'm working with other individuals. It communicates the different product features and availability. That's basically what advertising does. It induces customers to try and suggests reusing my products. Remember, once I get them to try it, how do I get them back? So sometimes I may have, you look at a lot of gas stations where they have, or I'll talk Starbucks. You have a Starbucks club, so you go in there, you buy so many Starbucks, you get a free Starbucks a cup of coffee free. So you got like a coffee club or something. Now it's all turned on into apps. You'll stimulate product distribution, increase product use. If I look at a good example would be for baking soda. Baking soda used to be for cooking only. Everything now that I've known when I grew up, cooking is in a box. But baking soda is basically for cooking. But now baking soda is it's environmentally safe. You use it for toothpaste. You use it for keeping your refrigerator clean. You use it for multiple uses other than what it was originally created for, but it's still, so I found different uses for the product. So how do I convey that information to a client base that I've already selected, that now baking soda can be used for these other aspects other than what it was designed for? You build value, you build brand preferences and loyalty, and overall you cost of sales. So basically it helps you sell. Okay, so now let's go benefits of a strong brand. Now, if I look at benefits of strong brand, I'll just click on this one. It'll be a lot easier to see instead of being, we're advertising. I got to give you some pictures, right? Some visual. If I look at advertising, it's not only visual. You'll find out it's visual, it's radio, it's media, it's apps, it's the smartphone, a whole bunch of things. So basically, what do I advertise? Strong brand. If I have a strong brand, if I look at, for lack of better words, Apple versus Samsung. Samsung's a very compatible product if you look at the tablets or the phones. But why do people buy Apple products, iPhone, for lack of better words, over Samsung? Because of the strong brand. People like their brand. They have a following. They have a prestige. And because of that strength of the brand, I could charge more. And that's what they basically do. Price award protection. My brand protects me through different prices because I am the benchmark. So I could kind of control the pricing because I'm up on top of there. So they're trying to cut me under. That's what Samsung's trying to do. Hey, we're just like that. But they always mention me. I'm just like the Apple. We're just like IBM or whatever. So I can kind of control it by my pricing, because I am the benchmarker. Okay, but once, like, if let's say Samsung overpowers, for lack of better words, in the future, Apple iTablet, they now could set the prices, and everyone else, if they set the price as this, if Samsung, if Apple now wants to set a higher prices, people can say, hey, why would I want to pay higher for you? What do you have for me? And that's where advertising comes in. Remember, advertising and marketing is it has to be factual, but it also looks at perceived image, perceived branding. What does a customer think about my brand? And that's a perception. Okay. Okay, increases new product sales, leverages for negotiation, strong brand. I could ask for more. I could. Walmart is a very strong brand, so that's why people who want to, their suppliers, they have to fight to get into Walmart, and they'll lower their prices just to break even, or maybe make a very small profit margin, but they get such a large exposure there for the brand, and then later on they may not sell back to them, but but Walmart has that thing. That's why they could keep the prices low, because once you get in there, they're global. They could put your product, the distribution globally if they wanted to. If your price is right and the clients or the customers of Walmart think it's a good product. Okay, it attracts new partners that comes in. That's suppliers or vendors once worked at. Aid in dealing with crisis. Because a brand name, if you have a good brand, if somebody is social media saying something wrong, the brand name could come around and say, "Hey, we are." Especially if you got you're a strong brand that we're loyal, we're honest, we're credible, we're environmentally safe. So if somebody says you're not, the brand, people start believing to the brand, and they'll question somebody that's doing something negative against me. Recruit top talent. Everyone wants to work for the best. Everyone wants to work for the best. So, a strong brand brings you get a higher pool of individuals that want to work for your company. So you have a larger pool to select from, so you could always select the best. Garner customer loyalty. Like the customer loyalty. If I look at loyalty, certain cultures are more loyal to the brand than others. And a lot of people, look, if I've always drank Pepsi-Cola, I'll try anything Pepsi-Cola has. Now, when we talked about previously in marketing, the previous chapter, if for some reason now Pepsi-Cola wants to go in and start doing health drink, if it has Pepsi-Cola label on there, that strong brand, people gonna say Pepsi. They're not healthy. They're good, but they would never look at Pepsi as a health drink or a soft drink. So a lot of times companies will have to buy another company or change the brand or have a different product line that's just health conscious, but underneath the Pepsi-Cola label. But remember, once your brand is set up, if I look at Twinkies or look at Hostess people don't look at Hostess as healthy food. They look Twinkies, cupcakes, and everything else, but that's their brand. So as long as I'm not going outside my brand, I've got that loyalty. People know if Hostess comes up with another dessert, or I will try it, because all the other ones I enjoyed and it was good quality. Does that kind of make sense? I hope so. I mean, with the reading, it makes a little bit of sense. So this is all out in here. So now we'll just move along here. Now, evolution of advertising. And I'm going to break this down a little bit different. And remember, I'm not much into historical in advertising, because in marketing and business, I'm always looking 5 years forward. 5 years forward and 5 years back. I'm looking at things that's happening now. History is nice, as a general thing, just to see how we got here. But in marketing and everything else, what's acceptable in advertising to laws and regulations, and acceptable to the culture of advertising now was completely different than what's acceptable to the culture pre-industrial and industrialization and industrial in the golden age and the post-industrial age, which we're going to go through. So it's nice to know how we got here. So let's go pre-industrial. That's basically pre-1800s, way past my time. During this era, few could read. Chinese invented the paper, and Gutenberg invented the printing press. So few could read because they didn't have the access to reading material. So the advertising worked a little bit different. They just had more pictures, and but that's it. So, but once the printing press came in, now I could have a printed copy more than just an artistic render that he or she could only draw so many and put out. So this basically opened up the door for mass production in advertising. Okay. Now industrialization came in 1800 to 1900. We had population growth, so we had needed mass consumption. We had more people wanted more stuff, but there's only a limited number of people who could do it. So to match mass production, producers had to mass produce. So technology came at that time. Machinery came in there. Okay. So what happens when you mass produce is a whole cultural change happened. Looking from a marketing perspective, I could cook dinner, and it'll take me so long. But if somebody else could cook dinner, and it cost me less, then why should I do it? So now people are looking for things to make life easier for themselves, for things that they say, hey, somebody else could do it and they do it better and at a lesser cost than what I could do it. So why not just go there and buy their product? Okay. Transportation again. Remember, you had the Ford came out the first car, breakthroughs to facilitate distribution. Now, and the railroads were in there. So when you really look at transportation, either than just the old buggy and horse, now I've got a railroad system. I can move goods from one side to the other. I could be a manufacturer in one location, but I could sell my products all over or within an area if I needed to sell my products on there. Okay. And then I had an increase for mass marketing technique. So all this basically brought everything else into started building up, mass production, everything else. But how do I let people know that I exist or my product is there and my product is competing with local vendors or manufacturers, and that's where advertising comes in. And then I got the industrial age, from 1900 to 1980s, fresh markets for new inexpensive brand luxuries. Convenience goods came out there, so I got to advertise real quick, let them know. Consumer packaged goods, printing came in there. I could put my ads and everything else on there. Catalogs mailed to rural areas, and at that time I think Sears would build houses. You could buy washing machines, wedding dresses, because Sears was a catalog. The stores weren't there. Sears had one location, they had a manufacturer, and they send the catalogs out, and now they could be able to bring it in through train or rail or even delivery right to your house at a cost that you could afford. Let's say radio provides new medium. Radio was out there. Hey, so now you could advertise through radio, through the voice. You don't have the print media, but you've got the catalog. The catalog will say, listen to this radio station, or call in and say you came in here and we've got the radio station. Advertising now becomes a profession. Okay, now the golden age. Let's go to the golden age. I hope you can see this. I'm moving this along here. Era post World War II, to 1970. H television came in. Whole new thing. Even though it's black and white, it opened up a new way for me to sell or make customers aware of my product, my goods, what makes me different, the cost, anything I want to do through the television. It also helped me to make my product different. It allowed me to segment the different market. Remember, once television came in, all people couldn't afford TV, so I still needed the print. But those who had TV, I had different kinds of ads directly to that segment. And then product positioning. How do I position myself? Pepsi tries to say I'm better than Coke, or Coke says I'm better than Pepsi, and that was all positioning through advertising. Some of it at that time might have been true, and some of it may not have been true. It's just as long as the reader or who saw your ad believed it, and as long as they believe it, so it's hard for once you believe have a value or a belief system, you have to have something to change that. Otherwise, you get. You grow up and believing that that's all you hear is the one ad: we're the best, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best, we're doing this, and somebody says no, you're not the best, we're better. So you have to change the belief system. That's where advertising comes in. So how do I do that slowly by different ads and media? Now the different medias to I hate to use the word or to saturate. If you look at advertising, you look at frequency and exposure rates. Is what we'll be talking down the road. Okay. And then you have the last one, post-industrial, and this is the age we're not. 1980 to present, demarketing. Now you start, you got bundling. Now you break it off into little pieces. You have different markets that you're going to try to attract. You have different medias that you're going to be utilizing to different markets. You don't have to do everything, but it doesn't have to be mass marketing. You can start having your niches. Cold War ends, multinational companies expand. So now they're basically expanding their reach, but they need to let people know that we're in the area, we're a new person in town. You have a lot of international companies selling here to the United States, and who are these people? Never heard of them, but then they bring the brand. Samsung used to be an inexpensive a brand, no one knew who they were. Now Samsung is up there with Apple and a lot of the other brand names. It's high quality, good pricing, good for your money. Very flexible, very innovative, and that's all brand over time by marketing, advertising, personal selling, radio, TV, media. media, they build up that strong brand image. Okay, affluent traditional products age, affluent baby boomers, increasing competition among agencies, advertising agencies, internet and Facebook open up the whole thing. What we used to be talk about word of mouth would be 7, 8 people. Now word of mouth to do 1,000, 5,000. It could go around the world just like that. So you have to be able to tap into that what do you call it, internet and Facebook effectively as an advertiser, not to be where they think it's spam and people start turning you off, but how much where you still keep your brand image and still respect the privacy and what your constituents or your customers are looking for. Okay? So we took care of that. Evolution. Now, let's go. We only have a few more in this one. Global and interactive age. What happened? Advertising, a worldwide enterprise. You got TV, remote control. I don't have to get up anymore. You know what I mean? Makes life easier. You could turn on the radio. You've got the CD players. Everything else works in here. Stereo systems. So all that changed now. I don't have to go to the show. So certain industries, movies are fun. Why do I go to movies? I got better. I have here. I have 3D. I have surround sound. So now movies have to change. A little bit differently. If you're looking in the future, they have a lot of movies are offering. You could go in there for night. They offer dinners. They change the system because competition and technology makes it more affordable and makes it more interactive. Satellite cable TV open up a whole new world. But I'm looking for advertising. If I just want to hit into the Lake Zurich area where I live at, I could just go on cable TV and say, I just want to hit the Lake Zurich area because I'm local. I don't want people from Chicago coming in here unless I have a website and I'm selling products over on the internet. Different issue. But if I have like a restaurant, I want them to come in, they're not going to drive all the way over to a Lake Zurich from Chicago unless they're visiting. So I just want to target this area here. By doing that, my cost for advertising is smaller because I'm not broadcasting across the whole United States. I'm just broadcasting or in a small niche. Okay, and smartphones, another thing. Smartphones, I could streamline. I could get information. I could scan things. I could I give them a free apps, and I got their information, so I could send them stuff on the smartphone, improve my advertising. But I got to be very careful because it eats up data. It eats up a lot of other things. So I don't want to be a nuisance. Otherwise, people will turn me down and say, I don't care for this. I get so sick and tired. I have, and I'm not going to try one way, for lack of a dragon speech recognition. No problem. I love the software. But they hound the heck out of me on the phone, calling me up all the time. And then this one, increasing that. After a while, you go, that's a little bit too much, you know what I mean? So the brand is being gained in a little word. If another competitor comes in just as good as that, I may switch as long as they're not annoying me. Remember, so you had to be careful when we go to talk about the ethics on the use of advertising. You have to understand your customer base, and you have to understand who you're doing. If you're doing spam, it's mass marketing. Remember, we're demarketing. We're bringing it down to certain markets, certain segments that I want to be very specific to sell my product and be interactive, but also be customized to that either culture, to that geographic area, or to that client or that customer that I'm trying to reach. Okay, and then the web and iTunes and Hulu. All right, those are some that we already know. Okay, so now if I look at it, okay, social force. Let me just go improve standard of living and everything. I'll have to do the overall figure. I like this one here. Remember, marketing, I use my concept maps as much as I can. When you get the concept maps, because this is basically, if I look at my concept map, is anywhere between 30 or 40 PowerPoints if I had to do a full PowerPoint. So this gives you a whole lot of information in one sheet, so when I could go all over, it's easier for you to learn. It's easier for you to see how each aspect fits into the total picture. Okay, so it improves the standard of living, and advertising does, because remember, it increases and helps the economic side. People buy more. People are looking for a new product. Look, if I'm a manufacturer and I do something that lasts for a lifetime, what's going to happen? Look what Apple did, iPhones did when they changed the plug on the iPhone. Just think about what happened. You had all the the radios, everything else, everything fit in. Your clocks all fit in with the plug, and then they went with the iPhone, the new iPhone. When that new iPhone came in, the plug was different. Upset the heck out of me too, because I use it for computers and everything else. I had to buy a whole new plug, everything else. So what But what it basically did, all the other suppliers or components or other products that utilize or enhanced Apple, that wanted Apple as part of their component, had to change. And because they changed, the customers, they could buy the adapter, but now all the new products had it. Same thing with DVDs. When I look at before Blu-rays, regular DVD, I was real happy, good picture. Now what happened? DVDs went out of style. Now it's Blu-ray. What's the difference? Oh, you got clearer picture, better sound. Eventually, you can't. You're not going to see the regular DVD. They're all going to be Blu-ray until they're going to come up with a red ray, or now they got curved TV. So it doesn't prove it from the economic standpoint because it stimulates people buying new products. If they don't buy new products, I'm out of business. I have to improve my products, okay? Awareness of product availability imputes products with personality. Look, if I look at, I used to work for ComEd, he had Lil Bill. Hi, Lil Bill. He got outdated, so they got somebody else in there. But if I look at for lack of better words, Empire, and I'm just throwing that in there, because, a lot of people watching Empire is a rug. I'm not trying to sell Empire versus over a Lunas, but Empire, basically, the gentleman is older. So what do they have now? They have somebody else comes in there like Empire. That's just an animated cartoon, or Mr. Clean. They make someone looks in animation. So advertising brings personality, or they bring in a sponsorship. They bring someone else that is representing the brand name. Okay, enables us to communicate about ourselves by the way products we buy. Look, if I'm going to go in there, and if you had like North Face, for lack of better words, a lot of people, when you buy their things, oh, I got to have a Reebok, I have North Face, I got to have a Bass and Pro label, whatever the label is. You're basically selling that. So hey, look, I've got that. If you look at news media, they have the name of the logo on there, and that basically will create brand awareness over there. Okay. So that takes good, and that's when it says enable us to communicate about ourselves. What we were. And I get a big kick out of when I talk to students or some of my clients, and I go, "Why did you buy an Apple?" An iPhone. Oh yeah, well, it's got this, that, but it doesn't interface. The new ones do. It doesn't interface real good with business. I have to have other applications to get my Outlook and everything else. I got to do a lot of tweeting and everything else to make it work well for me. I got to buy a lot of apps. And you say, well, but everyone has an iPhone. If I don't have an iPhone, then I'm not in the in crowd. Because look, certain brands has that image of prestige. So if I'm worrying having an Apple, an iPhone versus Samsung, even though they're both just as compatible, or HTC's smartphone, one has a brand. So I look at the brand. A lot of times I say, "Oh, what kind of tablet do you have?" "Oh, I just got a Acer, or I got a," and they feel bad because they don't have the brand where all the college students have, or all the people with prestige has. Okay, do you see what I mean? So overall, we look what we were. If I have a Rolex, people think I'm very rich. I might just say the only thing I want to own is a Rolex. But if I'm driving a Mercedes or a Lexus, it's a reflection of who we are, or what the facade we want people to think who we are. Okay? So remember, advertising and marketing, we help them become who they want to be. And how do I get there? By advertising and letting people know. So how do people know that Apple or Lexus is high quality? Because of all the advertising and the strong brand name. Okay, now when I look at effects, ethical. Let's talk about ethical. Foster free press and nonprofit. For nonprofit goals, you have cancer advertising. Everyone's in pink with the pink bowl for cancer. You have a lot of churches are advertising. A lot of different religious groups are advertising. Fosters understanding of social issues. All that is good parts of advertising. That works out well to let people know here's an issue. When they're looking through advertising, when they look at the NFL, when they had the battered, they had the domestic violence on one of their football players. I'm not going to mention any names. That's not the content here. Most people already know. So what did they do when it came for the Super Bowl? They had more thing about domestic violence in their advertising that people say, "Hey, this is inappropriate," but they're trying to build their brand image because people say, "Hey, because a lot of the parents were, where do you get the new football players or the new individuals that are going to be watching the sport?" Is basically from the younger individuals. And if the parents feel that football or the women feel that it's discriminatory against women or it fosters domestic violence, it hurts the brand. So the people are going to say, well, we don't want to put them into football. Let's go into soccer or something else. Same thing with the head injuries or something else, because it's a very contact sport. If you see a lot of football players coming in there and say, hey, we got the head injuries, I'm going to quit. And they had one running back that basically said, I'm going out, I've got the league. I'm more concerned about the head injury that hurt the brand. So what happens is now the brand hurts. So what do? They had to come back and say, we have new helmets, we have new gears, we have new protection to build the brand back up. And I'm just using that one because it's fairly common on there. It's easy for people to make the connection. Okay, so those are all ethical, social issues that are out there. And remember, so if there's a social issue that's affecting the brand loyalty, I have to come back. If they're saying that we're not environmentally safe, so I come back to advertising. Yes, we made a mistake, and now we going forward, all our products are using natural or organic. What do you call it? Components in it, or whatever it is. You see how advertising will bring people back around, and some of it is just social. What do you call it? Free publicity going out there, free advertising. Be aware of this, or be aware of something that's going on there. Okay. Now some unethical ones, puffery. That means I'm trying to put this in where it's not that bad because it's an advertising. I'm enhancing and embellishing the word. I'm looking from one of my English teachers when she says, well, when I write, I enhance and embellish. Now, when you look at puffing, it's the same thing you do when you do your resume. Don't you kind of enhance yourself a little bit, or you puff yourself up, or if you're trying to find a mate and you're in one of those eHarmonies or some of those other things to find someone, you meet someone, you kind of puff yourself. You tell them, yeah, I'm a chief executive, and you're basically chief executive of nothing. But you're chief executive of your own household. But you don't tell them the whole truth, or you tell them a little. Yeah, I work for this. I'm a high roller, or whatever. Do you see what I mean? So that's where in a lot of companies, when they advertise, they put more fluff, more. They stretch the truth, for lack of a better word, and that's where you come the unethical. Okay, advertising to children. That's at what age are they comprehensive? If you're only a little kid watching a cartoon, you don't want to start make sure you eat this cereal over this cereal. That's already advertising indirectly in them. So how do they advertise to children? They have Bugs Bunny, or Disney does a real good job at that. It's very low keyed, but it just puts the brand name. So when they say, hey, there's a Disney product, or you get your free whistle or your free coloring book or something in the package, they know the kids can't buy it, but the kids will go to the parents, and the parents will try to make their kids happy, and they'll buy it for them. But should they be directing it to the kids, or should it be directed to the parent? So we're talking about the push and pull in marketing, the same thing push and pull in advertising. Okay, so that's the unethical. Now here's the unethical effect. Unethical advertising, because there was no rules, because technology went quicker, and people were puffing, for lack of better words, or embellishing, or exaggerating, or bait and switch in some of the ads. What happened? Laws came up. So now I got to have the laws. Regulations came in. What I could advertise, when I could advertise, and how much truth. If I'm going to say it's natural, I have to let them know this is natural. I can't say it's organic. Organic and natural is different. Chemicals are naturally made. There's a lot of natural things that may not be healthy for you. But is it organic? Organic means there's no chemicals or anything in the process, for lack of better words. Okay, and there's different agencies. Better Business Bureau came up. Federal Trade Commission came up. Pure Food and Drug Act came in. Because remember, there's a lot of claims saying this medicine or this herb, for lack of better words, will do wonders for you, and it doesn't really do anything for you. You know what I mean? But because of the advertising, because of the brand name, you felt that this herb did that, and psychologically maybe it did do it. Because remember, they said a lot of your stress and a lot of illnesses and everything else, a majority of stress and everything else creates different illnesses. So, but how far are you stretching the truth, and how honest should you be? And that's basically where the Pure Food and Drug Act came in, and all these rules came in. Association of National Advertisers. As an advertiser, you got to clean up your own thing. Otherwise, if I'm an advertising agency making ads that are not true or really stretching the truth, is hurting the whole image of the advertising industry. And because it's going to hurt, and the consumer is going to be hurt, and consumers are going to voice an opinion, the rules of society, politicians are going to pick up on that, and they're going to say, hey, yes, you were dishonest. You took money away from consumers that wasn't there. You made false claims. And because of that, we're going to do another rule, another regulation, another law you have to follow. And you see that with the tobacco industry when they were saying that their ads are good for you and all this, and it's not addictive, whatever. And then they found out that they were addictive. They were adding more nicotine or within their product, but not advertising it that way. Saying no, we're not. So that was false. So now you have the Food and Pure Food and Drug Act came real heavy on that. You have to advertise. You find them, and they put a law against that. Here's what you have to advertise. And then so before those laws come in, you have to police yourself. The same thing with the movie industry. How risque are you going to do? What is considered a PG and what's considered a X rating? Remember, society's changed. When I saw PG, you would never see two people in the same bed. Nowadays, PG, they could be whatever, because cultures change. Cultures changes, and advertising has to change within the culture. If you want to see how cultures change, you look at the ads. What was how they used to advertise to women. Virginia Slims gives you energy. It's stylish. Now you can't do that. You know what I mean? Because that was false. At that time, it was acceptable because no one ever checked the product. So all this comes in there. So when I'm looking at the National Association of Advertisers, is we police ourselves so we are ethical. So when people see our ads, when people see ads, you figure, oh, what's going on? They're telling me a story from their perspective. That's why PR or public relation works a little bit better, because people seem to believe that if it's in the news media. In American Advertising Federation. All right. So in a nutshell, this was your whole series on evolution of integrated marketing communication, how we started, how we went up. Nowadays, if I'm looking at marketers could get advertising, there's different medias, different ways of going on. It's interesting. It's exciting. Just advertising now is more interactive. So now you know where we're at. Now the rest of the series, you'll be going with me. It'll be building up that new ad, using the social media, using the different how to do apps, how to integrate, how to have more of an integration within my advertising with the customers, because technology allows me to do that. Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and this was Chapter 2, Evolution of Integrated Marketing Communication, part of a series of advertising. You're taking me online or face-to-face class or one of my workshops. And I'll see you in our next series coming up. Thank you very much. Bye.